wanted to thank you all. There are lots of questions coming in. And just as a reminder, we'll do our best to answer as many as we can live. If not, we will also reach back out to you with an answer. There's a very robust set of FAQs on our website, frequently asked questions. Always encourage individuals to go there. And for any previous recorded webinars or trainings, visit our YouTube page, youtube.com/AbleUnited. So with that, we're going to get started a little bit early because I think this is a very important topic, talking about EmployABLE, a roundtable on employment and ABLE accounts. And so, Jesse, Allison, if you're there, feel free to share your screen or to share your camera so we can do introductions. Thank you all for joining. So research shows that individuals with disabilities are valuable assets for companies to employ them, and more than half of Floridians with disabilities are either not employed or underemployed. And these folks are willing and able to work, and getting them into the jobs will help alleviate the labor shortage. As I mentioned last session, I was at a conference and hearing from all the other ABLE programs, and there was a testimony of this ice cream shop that was founded and owned by individuals with disabilities, seeing that, hey, I bet you we can do well. And it was such an amazing support and outpouring from the community that they sold out of ice cream by the end of the day, and has had multiple days where they had to close their doors early just because of how great customer service they were receiving. But with that, still individuals with disabilities have faced higher unemployment rates. It's no small part because of employer discrimination and biases in the hiring process. With COVID, it's still something that many individuals have to consider before entering into the workforce as well. With all that being said, I'm very excited to have two of our organizations with us to talk about employment, experts from the Vocational Rehabilitation, as well as the ABLE Trust, not to be confused with Able United, but to really share about their organizations and how they're helping individuals and families gain meaningful employment, and how they can use that employment to save for a better life experience. So with that, I'd like to welcome Allison Chase, President and CEO of the ABLE Trust. Good morning, Allison.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. AbleCon 2.0, right?
Yeah, second year doing this, and hopefully we'll be continuing to do it each and every year.
Wonderful.
Also with us is Jesse Riddle. So Jesse is the Transition Program Administrator in the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, or VR for short. Jesse, welcome.
Thank you, John, for inviting me today to speak on our services. I hope everybody gets some good information today and is able to utilize our services.
Awesome. So before we get started, I wanted to run another poll to see how many of your attendees are familiar with vocational rehabilitation. For those watching on Facebook, you will not be able to see the poll. So bear with us as we do this and get some idea of how familiar people are with VR. And then from there, Jesse, I'm going to be turning it over to you, right? I believe you have a presentation as well.
Yes, as soon as it's done, I can share my screen.
Wonderful. Yeah. Awesome. So all over the board, so 40% very familiar, 44 and 16%. So the other 60% is either somewhat familiar or not familiar at all. So just some good numbers, and hopefully Jesse will provide us a really good overview. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Riddle with Vocational Rehabilitation, and today's presentation, I have 30 minutes, so I'm just going to do a quick, brief overview of our program here, and it'll cover those in middle school, high school, to our adults. So it is covering a little bit of everything. And let me go ahead and can you see my presentation okay?
Could you switch your presentation around? There might be display settings. Because we're seeing like your presenter notes
Oh,
in the top there.
let me check.
It says display settings in the top bar there.
All right, here we are.
And swap. There you go.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Alrighty, wonderful. Alrighty. So today I'm going to talk a little bit on vocational rehab. And so our agency is the first place for people with disabilities to turn to when seeking employment. And we hope to be a top resource for employers in need of qualified employees. So we work with everybody with disabilities, and we hope that people can come to us and businesses can really relate to us and fill their hiring spots. And sometimes we build relationships that way as well. And real quick, I'm Jesse Riddle. I'm the Transition Program Administrator. Been in this position for a few months, but I've been with Vocational Rehab for 13 years now, working my way through a technician, a senior counselor, consultant, supervisor, now with Tallahassee's unit. So my position covers transition services from 14 to 24 and a variety of different programs for the state of Florida's vocational rehab program. And so a little bit about what we'll cover today. I want to cover the purpose of vocational rehabilitation, our pre-employment transition services. Those are for the students that are in high school from 14 to 21. Who is eligible for the VR services, our VR services and different programs, the VR steps to prepare for, keep, start, or advance in a job. So we're not all just about finding work too, but if you're already working and need advancement, that may be a possibility as well. And what VR customer can do to be successful. And a little bit about vocational rehab. So vocational rehab is known as a VR federal state program that helps individuals with physical and or mental disabilities to find, get, or advance in a job. And our mission today is to help people with individuals with disabilities find, maintain, or advance in employment and enhance their independence. Because we do want everybody to be as independent as possible with the supports in place. That's what we're here for, especially when somebody's looking to find employment. You know, it could be in a variety of different settings, but independence is key. And so Vocational Rehab's vision is to become the first place for individuals to turn to when seeking employment and a top resource for employers in need of qualified employees. And sometimes it's not all about the client finding employment, but the employers need that as well. And so I just received some email yesterday from a big corporation looking to hire individuals with disabilities. So when we look for not only individual jobs, but we hope to get company-wide awareness in those human resource departments to really get on board and hire individuals across the United States. And some are able to do that, and we look forward to doing that with certain employers. And so this first part is about our students, a little bit about the WIOA law, the Workforce and Innovation and Opportunity Act. Now this act has been around for quite a while. It's going on 8 years here, and it was acted back in 2014. And so what happens is this is a reinforced policy that helped with changing some of the services and how VR operates and providing services for those students with disabilities. And so it helps with VR starting at the age of 14, which I'll cover here in a minute, but it helps students with disabilities transition into employment and independence after high school. So we start a little bit earlier. And you know, years ago before this law, there wasn't much that VR was able to do prior to graduation. There's a few things, but now there's a significant amount of services available to help prepare those individuals to get started. So what WIOA identifies is specific qualifications of a student with a disability for vocational rehab, and this law went on to define the 5 pre-employment transition services that we'll discuss, which is pre-ETS for most individuals that may hear that. Pre-ETS is the easier term for it. And so these must be made available to all students with disabilities that are enrolled in an educational agency, regardless of their VR eligibility status. And so what that means is that our pre-employment transition services can be offered at the age of 14 till 21 while they're enrolled either in school, which could be high school, secondary school, or post-secondary education. And so some of the criteria would also need to be that they have an IEP, a 504, or some kind of other documentation from their school indicating that he or she has a disability. And so this makes services a little bit quicker, and I'll cover the 5 services. So the eligibility criteria is a little different than the traditional program. And so with this, their potentially eligible status is what we call it at Vocational Rehab. And so there's only the 5 services that we're able to offer these individuals. And so once they no longer meet one of these criteria, they would need to provide or apply for traditional services. So there's a lot of good from this, and you can participate if you're 14 and you're going through high school and you're going to be extending your stay until 21. There's many years of services that you can build on and prepare for employment. So that way, when you are ready to graduate school or exit the school system, you have a large variety of experiences, are better prepared for employment, and can navigate and hopefully more independent once you're in the community. So the pre-employment criteria and the services are meant to really engage students and prepare them for life after school. And so with the potentially eligible services, you can only receive the pre-ETS services, and there's no eligibility determination. So you just meet those criteria that are listed above. And if you meet those, it's a lot smoother process, but it is limited to the services. And then we have our traditional services, which you can continue to receive those pre-ETS services. And at any time during that process, you want to apply for a traditional program, you're able to. And so that's when you would go through the application process and develop an individualized plan for employment. So getting into some of the services, WIOA ensures that every student with a disability has the opportunity to participate in pre-ETS. So the 5 services are job exploration counseling, post-secondary education counseling, our self-advocacy training, which includes youth peer mentoring, our work-based learning experiences, and this is the best one I think of all. This one gives you the most options for exploring opportunities, and we also have our work readiness training. And so these are a brief overview of the services. So job exploration counseling. So this includes the discussion on counseling on job options, and it's intended to foster motivation, consideration of various opportunities, and informed decision-making. Counseling, from the vocational rehab counselor helps students recognize the relevance of a high school and post-school education to their futures, both in college and in the workplace. So you'll be working with your VR counselor to discuss options and what's out there for you, to give you some consideration on what's available, because sometimes not knowing is the thing. So we try to include a little bit about everything that's out there for you and fit your needs to what you're looking to do. So there's a lot of exploration there. And this is done throughout the whole process at Vocational Rehab. We also have our post-secondary education counseling. This is one of the services that's also there to help increase the awareness and the different range of career paths available. The in-demand careers that are out there, because that does change from time to time in the local labor markets. So we want to look at the different services that are jobs that are available, what's new and up and coming, and what's going to have great growth over the next few years in those specific job fields. So these services are helped with the students to a little better explore what's available before they choose a career. And so this will involve comprehensive transition programs, career and technical education, and other post-secondary trainings or education programs that might be available in your area or in the surrounding area. And so one of our services is the self-advocacy training. Usually these are done in 20-hour courses. We do have another service that incorporates this as well, but this is a 20-hour course that helps prepare individuals on how to better communicate with their strengths, abilities, interests, and needs when interviewing with potential employers and applying for trade schools, colleges, and universities. So students who participate in this service learn how to plan and set goals, represent themselves, and make decisions that affect their lives. And throughout the training, students learn skills to increase confidence and self-esteem and develop a sense of independence and self-empowerment. So with this training, we hope that those students and individuals that take this course are able to communicate a lot better, even on the job market, at home, and any future training or setting that they may need to ask questions or self-advocate for. This is the class that helps speak up and learn more about advocating for you. And so I always recommend this course for individuals, and even if you've had it before, you can take this multiple times over, if you started at 14 and maybe took it at 16 or 18. So this is a course that kind of reinforces those skills, and it depending on the provider, different methods of using this training. So we also have our youth peer mentoring services. This one's not particularly available yet for our high school students unless they have a traditional IPE, but the youth peer mentoring services are one-on-one with a like-aged peer. And so this is able to contact different youth in the community or different resources. You'll work with a mentor that will work with you on exploring different options in the community and your needs. And so this can be done over 2 to 6 months. And this is to help the individual really engage and learn what's out there as well. And so this, but is only available for an individualized plan for employment, which we're hoping to move into our pre-employment transition services very soon. So we have our work-based learning experiences. So the work-based learning experiences are there for being able to work in the community at different work sites and places. So this provides real on-the-job training with students at different sites. So if you're interested in culinary or computers or warehouse worker, whatever you're interested in, we try to find a work site that meets those needs and what the employers are available, and you work at those sites, which these can be paid or unpaid, but most are paid for the students. So it's good to learn about different jobs and settings. And also, if you like it or not. I mean, that's really the key with the WBLEs, is to learn what you like and don't like with jobs, and gives you options to explore different things. So this is one of my favorites. You earn money and also get the options to explore. And this can be done throughout the services, and they can start and stop, for a couple months at a time. So it's really able to engage and learn about the jobs out there. And we also have our work readiness training. So this is designed to prepare students with a set of skills and behaviors that are necessary for jobs. And so this helps with the soft skills, the communication, employability skills. So this may include interviewing, resume writing, problem solving, and communication. And this is a 20-hour course as well. And so we have our transition programs for students with disabilities. So all these services are meant to help with community partnerships, students with disabilities, and prepare them for life after high school. So the services are generally there to help gain general employability skills, continuing education, train for a specific career, and finding a job after high school. And students have to also have the opportunity to explore science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and participate in internships. And so this will help connect those in the community with our students. And so a little bit about some of the different programs that are available. The career camps are there for students, in high school, and we're going on these right now over the summer. These are during summer break, winter break, spring break. And so these career camps are blended of several of the services I just talked about in a unique format. And so with the career camps, they're able to 10 to 50 hours over a time span of a couple weeks or week, depending on the type of course that's available. So these career camps can be done up to 5 times per year. And we also have our high school high tech. So the program is offered through the ABLE Trust and Vocational Rehab at your local school districts. And so this is year round for the students to promote those careers in the STEMs. So these activities include college and university, visiting different industries, guest speakers, community service projects, career experiences, and workshops. And so there's a lot of students participating in this throughout the state too. We have our Project Search. So Project Search is a nationally recognized internship program that helps with employment training and education. And so the goal of this is to reach toward the end of their high school time. And so it's meant to be a year-long program working at a specific site, and each site is different. And so you'll go through different rotations to work at that site. And hopefully at the end of those rotations, you'll learn the job skills and be hired at that individual site. So this is available only to the high school students. And one of the other programs that we have is our inclusive post-secondary education. We call it IPSE. And so these programs are specifically designed for students with intellectual disabilities. And this gives them access to different programs at different colleges and technical schools around the state. And so this is providing age-appropriate opportunities for learning, employment preparation, and recreational activities, social development, and the natural supports that these programs offer. So the IPSE program is I like the program, and there's quite a few programs available in the state of Florida. And so they're having their conference next month, and so we're looking forward to that. So once again, how to access these services. So these pre-ETs are a little bit different from our traditional program, and I'll go over a quick review of how to access those. So accessing pre-ET services, anybody could participate or make a referral. So you can learn about through our brochures, our website at www.rehabworks.org, or through an IEP meeting or at a transition fair, or family and friends. And then to make a referral, you can talk to your school official in the ESE department. Each school does have a designated individual that would make a referral for you. And so you would complete that. And if you're under 18, you would fill it out with your parents or guardian, whoever has that legal authority. If you're over 18, you can sign it along with the school counselor, and they can send it in. And that could be either electronically through our electronic portal, which we call the STAR portal. And this is only accessed through those individuals that have permission at the school system. Or you can send the paper referral to your local office to get started. And once we have that information, we'll contact you to arrange a meeting. And so you'll look out for a letter, a phone call, or an email. And make sure once you've completed an application, make sure to check your junk and spam folders as well. And so we have the VR pathways. So we have our student pathway, which is the pre-ETs, and then we have the stuff for the traditional program, which is our eligible VR customers. And through this, you can get the referral form off our website for either referral. And so this is the website, and the easiest way to get it is www.rehabworks.org. And so the next part is to talk about VR steps to prepare for, keep, start, or advance in a job. And so this is going to talk about our traditional services. And so who is eligible for our program? So at Vocational Rehab, you need to be an individual who has a physical and/or mental disability, and their disability results in a significant barrier to employment, and they need this VR services to get, keep, or advance in a job. And so if you have Social Security benefits, you do have some benefits there with being presumed eligible for services. So with this, you're already kind of eligible for the services. You just have to go through the application process and providing documents, or just go through and tell them and show them a award letter, and we can also check in our system. So, but you're already presumptive eligible for our program. And so if you do have if you are eligible for SSI or SSDI, you may also be eligible for our work incentive planning and assistance service, which is available to help you learn more about working and keeping those benefits, and providing the limits on those benefits of before you lose them. So you can work with Social Security benefits. You just need to know the limits of being able to do so. And so that service is there to help engage and know more about what you can do. And so a quick overview of the services, and these are some of the services that we offer. And of course, there's more out there, but this is just a quick list. And so we do have medical and psychological assessments that VR is able to do, depending on the circumstance. We like to do vocational evaluations and planning. So this helps with finding out the employment goals and what's recommended. We like to do 1 day or 2 day. It could be multiple days depending on the situation. Paper and pencil, hands-on at a job site, community assessment. So these vocational evaluations are looking at exploring options and basing it off what they see, your testing, or interests and aptitudes, and really just exploring and making recommendations for jobs. And so we have career counseling and guidance to help you get, so the counselor can help you guide and be directed and provide feedback and helping you with the choices that you're looking to make. If somebody needs additional assistance on the job, we have job coaches that can help with the job site, maybe helping with your employer, learning the job. Maybe after the job is you're off shift, you can work with the job coach maybe on some difficulties if you don't want them on the job site, talking with you after hours to learn more about how to maybe interact with somebody or do a task, or there's the job coach is there to help support you. And with that job coach, they'll also be able to help you find placement, part-time, full-time. So the job placement services are there to help you with finding that job goal that's on the individualized plan for employment. One of the services we offer is on-the-job training. So if you haven't worked in a very long time, or you haven't worked at all, sometimes we can offer on-the-job training. So if you're interested in a particular vocational goal, maybe we can provide some on-the-job training to get you in the door. And then, if everything goes well with your time at that company, the main goal is to help you get hired permanently. So on-the-job training can be a useful tool to help engage employers before they hire you. We have training and education after high school. So we do offer services for technical school, college, self-employment. There's different training certificate programs that might be needed. There are a variety of public schools and out there that we may be able to assist with as long as it leads to the vocational goal that is on your plan. and if that training or service is needed to reach that employment goal. So there's some good options with the trainings out there. We also do some job site assessments and accommodations. So really looking at the individual and helping them succeed at the job, making sure that if there's accommodations needed or technology, maybe we can see what's available to make sure you're able to do the job. We have supported and customized employment. So those that need more significant services or assistance with finding a job or maintaining a job, the supported employment and customized employment are there to specifically help those individuals with more time-intensive services, making sure that it's done over a longer period of time and so that you're able to be successful. We have the assistive technology and devices, and then sometimes we can provide time-limited medical or psychological treatment. So if you're not fully prepared, maybe there's something we can do to help you before you are ready to start working. So the VR programs that we have, a little bit about the pre-employment services that I talked about, general employment services, the supported employment services. We have self-employment and supported self-employment, our ticket to work, our transition youth programs that I covered with Project Search, High School High Tech. We work with the deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind services. We have our independent living program and the Florida Alliance of Assistive Services and Technology. So a brief overview of additional programs and services that are available. And so to get started, you would just send in a referral to Vocational Rehab, as kind of described earlier, to your counselor, or you can submit it online. If you can find the address to send it to on our vrrehabworks.org webpage. And once you send in your referral, you'll be contacted. You'll apply for services. And then once you have all the medical records or documentation ready, the counselor will make an eligibility decision by them within 60 days. And once you're determined eligible for the program, you could go on a possible wait list. Most of our individuals do not go on a wait list, but it may be possible for a Category 3 wait list, which is usually somebody that needs less than 6 months of service, and the services are very quick. And so majority of our individuals are not in that category. Once you're off the wait list, you'll go right into developing an individualized plan for employment. So we have up to 90 days to do that, could be quicker. And then once the plan is signed, you'll participate in services that will lead to employment. So whatever's on the employment goal on your plan, and we'll provide those services until you reach that goal. And then once you're successfully employed, we'll follow along with you for a brief period of time, several months, depending on if you're employment services or support employment services. It could be 90 to 180 days, depending on which one is available. And then we'll close your case successfully after that. And so you can always come back through post-employment services, or if you've lost your job or quit, you can always come back again. There's no limit on applying for VR services. So at any time, if you need our services or assistance, please reach out and before you quit or lose your job or decide to leave, reach out and see if there's anything we can do to help maintain that position. It's easier to sometimes help maintain. It could be just some brief miscommunication, or it could be some new training. So it really depends, but reach out to us and see how we can help. And so a quick overview of the referral form. Once again, you can get it on our website, and this is what it kind of looks like. So when you're looking for that document, you would fill it out and send it into the office. And so once you send that in, there's also an orientation that we'd like you to complete. So the orientation kind of covers a brief overview of the program, how the process works, and applying for services. So that way you're able to learn more about the program prior to entering it. And so there's a attestation form as well that you could send in after you've watched the video and apply for services. And so the role of the VR counselor this is the main person that you'll most likely work with at our agency. And so the VR counselor is there to provide the customer with information, resource, guidance, and counseling, and helping you arrange the different services that are on your plan, and guiding you and having those discussions with you throughout the process. The counselor is also there to help the VR customer learn about their strengths, priorities, abilities, and interests, and to prepare for and to find that job you guys chose together, and work closely with the VR customer to write that individualized plan for employment, and that will include the employment services and the employment goal. And once the services have been initiated, we want to make sure that the counselor continues to work with you. You can reach out anytime to speak with them. We ask that our customers keep in contact with us at once a month or every 2 months. And so the more contact you have with the counselor, they're there to help manage your case and help you finding that goal or provide those services on your plan. So anytime you need assistance, if you haven't heard from them, reach out to the counselor. The counselor is there to help navigate and provide all those services and assistance for you. And one of the main things at Vocational Rehab is informed choice. And so informed choice is the best thing of making a choice based on good information, and it's at the center of the VR process. So the customer is the one making the informed choice. So they're there to make a choice about their job goal and the services they need to reach that goal, and who is providing those services. And so we can provide options to what we have available, but ultimately it's up to the customer to choose what they're looking for and how VR can support that. And sometimes VR may not always be able to support the choice that's made. Sorry, I had to cut off. And but they're there to make informed choice, and ultimately it's up to the client. And so we provide as much resources in that process to be able to do that. And then we have our financial participation. VR is required to look at the income of individuals to find out if they share some cost of VR services. So real quick, a person with no income who is receiving SSDI or SSI does not have to participate financially. Our employment services are included. So if you're looking for a permanent job or on-the-job training, there's no cost for those. And VR counselors will discuss the VR participation form with you during your first visit. And so we are limited if you're unable to provide any income information or choose not to. There are certain services that we can provide, but then there are some services that we're not able to because of the financial participation. And so things you can do to be successful as a VR customer. So you can stay in touch with your counselor as often as possible, provide any current or updated contact information, phone numbers, address, email, provide the counselor with any records to help make the eligibility decision faster. So if you have those records, bring them to the first visit. Choose a job goal with help from the VR counselor. Be actively involved in creating their IPE. So the more involved you are and prepared, the easier things are. And look for additional services that are available or sources that are available for funding in case you're looking for any resources. And so we have 2 more slides. And so things a VR customer can also do to be successful is to make sure you have approval before or by your counselor before you go to the appointments, and because VR cannot pay for services that are not approved first. Remaining in contact, being on time for all your appointments, follow through with any assignments, and finish the actions agreed upon in their IPE. And so lastly, we have those that are there to help support the customer. So if the counselor is unavailable, you can talk to your technician, but you can also talk to the VR counselor supervisor to help with any mediation and looking for questions if there's unresponse or you have concerns. You also have the VR ombudsman's office. They can help with your case and helping with any situations. And we also have disability rights with our client assistance program. So there are options besides the counselor. And so that concludes my presentation.
Awesome, Jesse. That was a lot of valuable information. And just as a reminder, we will be sending out this presentation after probably later next week, I believe. So you'll have this information, but tons of great resources. I know we've had several questions come in, but I want to go ahead and bring on Allison to talk about our friend, Able Trust. And then Jesse, we'll bring you back on to do some Q&A after her presentation. But
Sounds good.
Allison,
Thank you.
great, thank you. So Allison with Able Trust, we'll spend a little bit to talk about what her program does, even though we have a similar name and color scheme. And I used to joke that, although we have the same name, we're different, but we're close. We're about a mile and a half or so away. And then you guys were like, we need to be closer. And so now you're like down the block, right?
Well,
Right off of
we
Hermitage,
could,
so.
yeah, we wanted to get closer. So thanks, John. Loved being here on AbleCon and love promoting Able United and the Able accounts. We see them as such a valuable resource for individuals in the state of Florida, and particularly, we're coming at it from the aspect of employment, and Able accounts make employment so much more accessible for individuals with disabilities here in Florida. And I wanted to also say thank you to Jesse, and what a tremendous presentation and wealth of information. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. I need to make sure I share my sound because we also have a video that I'm going to show you guys. So John's already introduced me. I'm Allison Chase. I'm the president and CEO of the Able Trust. And the Able Trust was created in 1990 to be what's considered a direct support organization to the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. So Jesse and his team over there and my team here at the Able Trust, we work really closely. We are all about employment for Floridians with disabilities. And the Able Trust is not a direct service provider. I am going to tell you about one of the programs today that I think is probably of most interest to the audience here today that Jesse's already touched on, High School High Tech. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Able Trust and why we exist. So we exist to promote employment of people with disabilities in Florida and to help vocational rehabilitation in their mission of providing direct employment services to individuals throughout the state. We see our role in three different ways, and I'm not going to talk in great detail about all of these because I want to talk what's most relevant to you. But we see ourselves as the leader for data and research around disability employment in Florida. So making sure that all of the decision makers, funders, and other programs like Able United know what's happening with disability in Florida. So disability employment in Florida. So where are people with disabilities living? Where are they working? Where do we need to do better? Where are things that are working and doing really well that we want to make sure that we're promoting and increasing throughout the state, which leads to the next part of our outreach. So we spend a lot of time talking to business leaders around the state about the importance and value of individuals to Florida's workforce. We spend a lot of time talking with other programs, education programs, workforce development, and community leaders, making sure that individuals with disabilities are included in all of the really great things that are already happening in Florida. And then through capacity building. So working with VR and their partners around the state, making sure that they have the resources, including training, professional development, and testing new ideas and solutions with them. And then also working with Florida businesses to make sure that they have access to the experts around disability employment, because we know that when businesses have really strong partnerships with those disability employment experts, that they are more likely to bring on and be successful in employing individuals with disabilities. So that's just a little bit about us. This is one of my favorite slides that I use in many of my presentations, and I'm using it here today to demonstrate that the possibilities are endless when you talk about disability employment in Florida. And oftentimes, we know that the general public and including businesses can have a very narrow view of what employment looks like for people with disabilities. And it's our job to say it really is. It's the wide open space that everybody else, the general population, has access to. And these are just some examples. So I just kind of wanted to give this as a spark and maybe light the fire under your own career exploration and development. So these are actual individuals that we have worked with through ABLE Trust programs, or that VR has worked with through their programs. And they are all young professionals that are doing excellent things. And so I just want to tell you what you're looking at here today. You're looking at a college professor, a journalist, a fitness trainer, a Publix bagger, which we always hear Publix does such an awesome job with hiring people with disabilities, and they do. And here's an example of that. An ice cream shop owner. And I think somebody was talking about an ice cream shop owner earlier, and I'm not sure if this is the one that you were talking about, but this is one of our board members, Chip Byers, who owns Rita's Italian Ice in Orlando. Wildly successful, and also wildly successful in being an advocate for disability employment and hiring people with disabilities. We have a nonprofit executive, a manufacturing machine operator, a hotel beverage cart attendant, a hospital therapy assistant, and an ICU nurse. So again, I just show you this so that all of you can see that the possibilities are endless. And I want you all to approach employment exploration with a very wide scope as you narrow it to what's specific to your interest and what's available in your own backyard where you want to stay. So I'm going to talk to you for a couple of minutes about high school high tech, which Jesse mentioned in his presentation, because this is a partnership program between the ABLE Trust and the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. We've operated this program for over 25 years in Florida. And as Jesse said, it was started as a program that was specific for bringing more individuals with disabilities into STEM careers, so science, technology, engineering, and math. However, over the last few years, we really took a look around and said, Florida has so much more to offer. There are so many in-demand and growing careers that we don't want to just limit what we're looking at and what we're inviting students to look at to STEM. So we've really broadened that and encouraged the sites around the state to introduce students to all of the possibilities that are available here in Florida. So this is just some of our success outcomes that we have experienced. We have seen a 99% high school graduation rate through high school high tech. We also have over 80% of the students who graduate from high school high tech are either going on to some type of post-secondary education or employment. And post-secondary education, oftentimes people think automatically of college. And yes, this includes college, but it also includes career and technical education programs, apprenticeships. If you don't know and haven't seen in the headlines, Florida is investing heavily into workforce development and creating all sorts of different pathways for success for all Floridians. And we want to make sure that individuals with disabilities not just know about those programs, but that they are going into those programs, that they're successful, and that they're achieving the careers that they intended as they go through the programs. So I'm going to share with you a video that we did recently that highlights high school high tech, and it also highlights a program within high school high tech called Project Venture, which I'll talk about a little bit more after we view the video.
The ABLE Trust is a statewide leader in raising awareness of and advocating for disability employment in Florida. High School High Tech has been the ABLE Trust's response to supporting Florida's young people with disabilities as they prepare to enter the workforce. A few years ago, the ABLE Trust saw a need to focus on communication skills with our High School High Tech students. This came not only from interacting with those students ourselves, but also in the conversations we had with employers around the state. At the same time, we saw two other things with our High School High Tech program. One, a lot of them were developing their own micro enterprises. Second, a lot of our students were indicating an interest in being their own boss. forging their own path in life. So out of that, Project Venture was born. It puts our students into a real-world simulation that allows them to not only develop communication skills for the workplace, but also learn about entrepreneurism. Through Project Venture, students work in teams, they develop a business plan, they compete against the other Project Venture teams from all around the state. But the best part about it is the students don't realize that they are learning because they are having so much fun. We've operated High School High Tech for over 20 years. In that time, thousands of young people with disabilities have been supported and encouraged as they graduate high school and continue on their path to employment. Originally, High School High Tech was developed as a STEM program. However, the ABLE Trust has adjusted the program's scope to focus on in-demand and emerging careers. This is to better allow students to learn about careers that are going to be available and accessible to them in their local community.
As a freshman, I was in the program thinking, oh, it's, just a program to join. It's not, I wasn't really thinking about college in the future so much, but it helps me to know what I want to do later after high school. And since we visited all these colleges and campus tours, it gives me an idea on what I want to do outside of high school. So I'd say it's really helped me mentally to know what I want to do in life. So that's what I take from HSHT.
High School High Tech has two main goals. First, for students to graduate high school, and second, to get them to enroll in a post-secondary option of their choice. Currently, we're operating in 36 counties, serving anywhere from 1,100 to 1,300 students a year. Since the data has been tracked over 60 years ago, people with disabilities have consistently been employed at a lower rate than those without disabilities. High School High Tech hopes to change that by intervening earlier in that person's life. High School High Tech seniors have a 99% graduation rate and enroll in post-secondary options or enter the workforce at a rate much higher than Florida's average. We've come to learn that intervening earlier helps to put these students on a path to employment and self-sufficiency.
To ensure we close the employment gap for persons with disabilities, we must ensure that every Floridian who wants to work can work. The future of Florida's economy depends on it. If we are truly going to be the 10th largest economy by 2030, we need a strong workforce, and we must improve our efforts to employ persons with disabilities. Through the High School High Tech program, thousands of students across the state of Florida have been given the opportunity to learn about post-secondary education and career training opportunities that are available to them after they graduate high school. And we need to continue growing, and if I'm going to be honest with y'all, we can't do it without you.
So whether you're a business, an industry group, an education institution, a government entity, or just a civically engaged person, there's a place for you to plug in to our High School High Tech program. Please send us an email at info@abletrust.org or visit our website, abletrust.org. We would love to have you be a part of our success and helping our students to succeed in the state of Florida.
So I hope that that kind of brings to life a lot of what Jesse has been talking to you about this morning and some of the things that I've already said. I always get excited when I watch that video, get excited when I have an opportunity to go out with the students. You saw lots of pictures from different tours and opportunities. Really High School High Tech and many of the programs that Jesse was already talking about is really about getting that hands-on experience. So whether you have a High School High Tech program in your backyard, which you can see the county here, and we'd love to hear from you if you want to know more about High School High Tech in your area. I'm going to leave you with some contact information. I know John and his staff will also provide that to you. But there are so many things, there's so many opportunities through vocational rehabilitation. I was excited to see that 84% of you at least are somewhat or very familiar with vocational rehabilitation, because I think it's one of the state's best kept secrets. When you get connected to VR and you become a VR consumer, whether it's through pre-ETS or as a fully eligible consumer, there are so many opportunities to help you figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and what are the resources available. So the last thing that I want to leave you with is that whether you get connected through High School High Tech or through VR or some of other VR sponsored programs, that I think one of the most important things for individuals with disabilities and their families to know is that building that network early is going to pay off dividends as you move into the career field. So something that most people don't know is that 80% of jobs, people who are working in jobs now, got their jobs because of somebody they knew, not because they applied through Indeed or ZipRecruiter or any other kind of online application or any competitive application process. We all get our jobs mainly because we know somebody, and all of these experiences that you have access to through VR and their programs through High School High Tech, or even just on your own, making those extensions out to find out what's happening in your community. Where are the jobs? What are you interested in? You know, just asking somebody to talk about their business and how they found their job. That gets you started on that pathway. So I encourage you to do that. Your VR counselors and other service providers in the local area can help you with that. And we can help you get connected if you don't know where to get started. So what I'm going to leave you with here today is here are some things to get started. Get connected, start building your network, know what's available. Because to be the most successful, you are your own leader, and build those experiences using the resources that are available to you through vocational rehabilitation, through High School High Tech, through your local school district. So that's where you get started, and we can't wait to see you succeed. So John and Jesse, thank you so much for sharing your platform today. The last thing that I've got here is contact information. I've got my contact information here, but I also wanted to include Colleen Agner, who is the High School High Tech State Director here in Florida. She is glad to answer your questions. So I encourage you to reach out. And our website is www.abletrust.org. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Allison. What great information. And that video was amazing. So definitely, hopefully we can share that with our audience as well. But I want to also invite Jesse back. I know we have a few minutes and want to get to some of these questions, some good questions. So if you do have questions, and please put them in the feed. We may not be able to get to all of them today, but we'll do our best to follow up with you at a later date and time. So I got this one. This was interesting from Kathy. It says, does VR pay for driving lessons so someone can be able to drive to their employment, to their job?
Yeah, so it's depends, and the reason is for driving lessons, maybe for somebody that is using a modified vehicle, you know, you would need the driver's permit or driver's license prior to us being able to do anything like that. So if maybe you need a vehicle modified and then need driving lessons to use that vehicle, then that may be a service available to you. So.
Awesome. That's helpful. Yeah, I've actually met somebody that had to get a vehicle modification in order for them to get to and from work using VR. That's awesome.
Definitely.
This is a question I think it touches both of you, and it says, does a student have to be enrolled in a public school to either to utilize the VR services or for the high-tech type of products that the Able Trust puts out, or can they be homeschooled or using the Step Up, Medicaid, or now Family Empowerment Scholarships?
So Jesse, I'll let you go first and then I'll piggyback on that.
Okay. So you could be homeschooled with our program, especially with, you know, most of the criteria having a disability and looking for employment services over the age of 14. So you can apply for our agency.
Yeah, so I was going to say the same thing. It doesn't matter. You know, some of our high school high tech programs are specific to school districts and to high schools. But we have many that serve individuals who are in private schools, charter schools, and homeschools. So that should not limit you in accessing, you know, employment transition services here in Florida.
Awesome. Another question I see that's come in is about age. I know we talk a lot, and I know just previous knowledge about vocational rehabilitation, the shift of focusing on getting youth and individuals into the system earlier in the process. But what about individuals that are in their 30s, 40s, or even older, where maybe their disability happened later in life, or now they find themselves unemployed? What services does either VR touch on those again, or the ABLE Trust? What are they doing to help individuals that might not be a youth to get employment?
Sure. So, I mean, with our agency, there's no cap on the age limit. I've heard of people being in their 90s looking for services, and so if you have a disability that you've had your whole life, or maybe acquired it later in life, through an accident or medical condition, you can apply for services, and we try to tailor the services to that individual. So that way, we look at their disability and limitations, their strengths, and try to use informed choice and finding the appropriate vocational goal for them. And so as long as you're over the age of 14 and you have a disability and are looking for work, feel free to apply and see what we can do to help you with getting gainful employment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really have much to add to that. I mean, I think that, if anybody comes to us looking for employment services, we are definitely going to send them to VR first, no matter what their age. But we also work with a network of providers around the state, which Jesse does as well, and are happy to help people get connected to local community providers as well.
And that's awesome. Now I might steal a little bit of your all's thunder here. I did get a question about able to work. So what is able to work? So that's a question we get quite frequently on individuals that have an ABLE account and they start working, and how does ABLE accounts work in that situation? So high level, generally anybody can contribute to an ABLE account, including the beneficiary, the owner of the ABLE account, can put their earnings into the ABLE account. And if they're not saving for retirement or have a retirement plan, they can actually use the ABLE account in that matter to where they can contribute above that $16,000 annual limit up to $12,880 a year. So in addition to that, so that's pretty cool. And then also they can take advantage of some tax credits like the Savers Credit, for example, if they're utilizing their ABLE account in that way. And just important to note that still funds contributed to the ABLE account still counts as earnings if there aren't any type of public benefits. So that's great. And I have one more question. If you could just one more time highlight how individuals can find out more about you, where to start if they're interested in either the services your program offers. I'll start with you, Jesse.
Okay, sure. So we have our main website. It's www.rehabworks.org.
All right, Allison, where can people find the ABLE Trust?
Yep, we're abletrust.org, and our contact information is on there. You can click on any of our staff members and email them directly. We also invite you to join our newsletters, join our newsletter mailing list, because that's going to be the best way to keep up to date with, what's the latest and greatest. So I encourage everybody to do that.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for providing this valuable information, and hopefully we'll be able to put this out there and get more individuals with disabilities employed across the great state of Florida. So thank you all for your time, Allison and Jesse.
Thanks so much, Sean. Thanks, Jesse. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you all. Right now, we're going to take about a 10-minute break or so to get everybody some time and get our next presenters on board. So we'll pick back up at 11:10. We're going to be talking about estate and financial planning with a board-certified elder law attorney, Heidi Friedman. She is a wealth of knowledge, very personable, and so please stay tuned to that. But we'll be back shortly. Thank you.